Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 12th of September for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you a flavour of what to expect this week for us all collectively, but please stay with me as I dive deep and give you each of the 12 zodiac signs in forensic detail. Now, late last week there was a full moon in the sign of Pisces, but it was angling to Uranus, the planet of change and the planet of truth. And you know, if we can use that more innovative energy of Uranus as we come into this week, it would be a good thing to do. And that means being open to fresh approaches. But we can take a fresh approach to either our spiritual, emotional and psychological well-being or to our physical well-being. And it means that the available energy we do have is likely to be limited somewhat. And therefore we need to apply it to things that are really meaningful, and that means prioritizing. However, the Sun is linking brilliantly to Pluto. When they're in a trine, this can see us changing something physically in our world, but also can trigger deep changes within us. And sometimes Pluto pushes us to change things before we're even conscious that that actually might be a good thing for us. Also, there is an opposition between Mercury and the other ruler of Pisces, Jupiter. And this is going to be going on right from now, right through to the end of the month. And they're both in retrograde, and in their own way they both have an impact on travel but also ideas. So I think it's important that we stay quite grounded around our ideas and philosophies. We may find ourselves or see generally quite a lot of different viewpoints competing against one another. I know that's quite a feature of modern life, but it can be even more prevalent. But if you are journeying anywhere or you're thinking of buying a new mode of transport, it's just asking us to try to stay very realistic, keep one foot on terra firma. Now, all week, Venus and Mars are also in somewhat of a squabble. And Venus in the sign of Virgo, along with the Sun, it's not its best location. It's known as being in full. And Mars is in Gemini, so what you've got is the quick ideas of Mars in Gemini competing with the rather more cautious and practical energies of Venus in Virgo, but not quite so affectionate and openly sharing of emotion. And also the quarter moon, which occurs on Saturday, reflects that square between Venus and Mars because it's in Gemini, and that can create quite a lot of frenetic energy. So we've got nervous energy washing around this week, and then we've got the physical drive of Virgo being challenged by the moon position and then Neptune. So energy a little bit sensitive, and important that if we're going through changes, the changes we're trying to achieve are achievable. And I think it's just all about slowing things down and just making sure the things we're working on are the most meaningful and important strands and not getting scattered too much. So Leo, your week commencing the 12th of September forecast brings sharply into focus something that everybody's having to tackle at the moment, and that is the cost of living crisis. And the reason for this is because the Sun for you is in sector 2, which is everyday finance, along with Venus. Now, when Venus is usually in sector 2, that can be fortunate. Venus this week is actually in a square with Mars in your sector of friendship. So you may actually have quite a jolly time with a group of people this week. And, you know, it could go into the small hours and much merriment could be had. If you are attracted to someone romantically, or there is someone that you're getting friendlier with, important to make sure that your values are aligning. But back to that issue of marshalling resources, because the full moon of last week really particularly asked you to think about this, but Uranus is in a part of your horoscope that's to do with how you connect with the wider world. And Uranus can be challenging, restless, and it's in that abrasive right angle with Saturn, but it also pushes us to embrace new approaches. So because you're a fixed sign, sometimes knowing and doing what you are familiar with is very comforting to Leo people. But I think when it comes to your work or worldly interactions, I think this chart is really asking you to be very open to doing things differently. And because the Sun forges a really excellent angle to Pluto, you can squeeze more out of your budget. You can do things differently. Believe it's possible, even if it does mean making some significant changes, because you have got an innate charisma which can draw goodness to you. It's just believing that, and even if you can change 5 things, 5%, that's a 25% overall change to your situation. So that Sun angle with Pluto, despite the challenges that I know are really difficult for us all, I do feel that that can give you, along with Uranus, the astrological assets to work this situation to the best outcome for you personally.